Old Musician's Blog, number 90. It's been raining all last night and most of today. Really nice, gentle storm, dropping a lot of rain, and we could always use it. And last night was one of those nights, one of those rainy nights, where it seemed like everybody had a gig and everybody wanted to go and go out. So it was a good night, a good night for playing. And I was fortunate enough to have a sub gig playing the piano for this group called Sonic Gravity. And they're kind of up and coming and still learning like I am. And the bass player is a cello player. Instead of a bass, he's got a cello, and he gets a good bass sound out of it. He plays it like a bass. But then when he's soloing, he solos using a bow. So and that's really cool, And also, I was finding, I could run some bass lines over a lot of the tunes when he's soloing, so that's good for my left hand. And so we played at this nice new restaurant, Jay's Bistro, which has a really good Italian food, and they treated us good. They paid us, and they gave us a good meal at the end, anything on the menu, and we had a good full house, and everybody did good. And then, like I say, and then down the street at the Baguette, they had the Wes Montgomery tribute with Thor and Ed, and they were really good. That was really good too, And then I saw on Facebook that Danielle Kelly with her group, she got rained out at some winery, and there was a picture of her in her car, drinking a glass of wine and, all soaking wet from the rain. And that's a trip when you got, when you got a whole band and you got all the equipment out and you have to make that decision, is it raining too hard to continue? And then once you've made this decision, then you still have to pack up all the equipment and get it under cover and everything, and everything's plugged in. It's all electric, so it's not the most pleasant experience to get washed out. And you hope everything works good afterwards. Anyway, and then I don't know where the rogue suspects were, but they're everywhere anyway. They're all over the place, and they got so many gigs that, and they have several bands that work out of that that venue of people that all kind of interact with each other, and they got that pianist. Don Harris. It's funny. I've known so many piano players that are really good, that are called Don or Donald. My old schoolmate Donald Case was a case in point, and he could play fantastic boogie woogie as a teenager, and that's a story of one of the reasons that I became interested in music. Though in talking about this whole situation, I realized that I really don't know what it is about about music, that there's one thing that makes you want to learn it, and there's another thing that makes you want to go out and play, and makes us want to do that. And musicians who play gigs, they've got to have that piece that makes them want to go out and play. And it helps if they have the piece that makes them want to go out and book stuff too. But that sometimes doesn't all come in the same package. But anyway, I've been feeling very fortunate this week because I have piano gigs. I have this one with Sonic Gravity, and then on Sunday there's a Tim Church's party garden party, and that'll be kind of like the jam situation, and play that, and then there's a Wednesday at the Baguette, and then on Friday is the next Sunday. That's playing piano with Casey, Casey and Piano Mike, and that'll be a really. I'm really looking forward to that gig. I hope I can do it justice. Um, but anyway, sometimes you think, oh, look, there must be a limited audience. Look at all those bands playing all at the same time, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all playing on this. Oh, and then there was Salsa Brava at the Pascal Winery, and they had a huge crowd. I saw the video and the photographs of it. And they had a huge crowd, and the crowd was just going nuts. So, so look, how many people can want to go out in one evening? How many venues can it support? And some of them, have cover charges, and some of them for free. And sometimes the people get to thinking, well, there's only so much to go around. But the thing is that there was really plenty to support it. Everybody got a little piece of the action, and I know we had a really good crowd, and people came out, and that our friends supported us, and that was really good. And I think the Wes Montgomery tribute went well, and I think that the Danielle Kelly, she's getting so many gigs in her band, is really, really good. So for local, she's vying, to be, on par with the Rogue Suspects, who've been doing it for a lot longer, and they're really good too. They're headed up by Greg Frederick and Dirk Price, and they're all fabulous musicians. But the piano players, Don Harris, for them, he's really good. And then Don Jacobs, 4 Hours. He's you can't play old time piano, anything like that. So there's 3 of them. Donald Case at Summerhill, unfortunately, Donald died, and I never got to see him again later in life. I sometimes wrote letters to him, but he was one of those. He was one of the few kids who could play 2 hands, early, and he could play the trumpet too, and he was so enthusiastic about the music, and he had such a sense of how to make it sound good that he made me want to play. He made me want to, go to one of the old pianos and play with, one hand on, while somebody else was playing the other hand, and try to play those boogie basses. And then later, I'd go in the staff room and get in the good piano and play, try to work out stuff, and stuff that I'd heard someplace. And I loved the old jazz at that time. I had a whole record collection of the old jazz, and that was I think that was one of the things that made me want to do music in the beginning, and that's a tribute to those people, those Donalds, that caused some enthusiasm in myself to learn more and be a half decent piano player, and at least good enough to go out and play.